All teachers carry a reputation, but still give them a chance at the beginning of the school year. So students may say many different things as far as teachers based on what they've heard from other students and what they've observed. But even all that being said, you got to give a teacher a chance to kind of establish their classroom culture, classroom expectations and rules, not just purely based on reputation. And I'm going to share my personal experience with this. So it depends on who you asked when I was a teacher, but I was often called a strict and mean teacher. And the reason was because there were students who were in the grades below what I taught. I had taught sixth grade, and they had heard that I was strict and therefore I was mean. Now, once they finally got to my class in sixth grade, they end up just learning that, well, yeah, I did indeed have high expectations. So I guess that I could be interpreted as being strict. Um, and I did expect them to do things correctly and correctly very frequently from the start. But they also learned that I wasn't necessarily mean. It just, I expected things done a certain way. In fact, after some time, they actually learned that I had a decent sense of humor. I was willing to joke with them and tease them, and that we had a lot of fun activities planned for the year. And so when they heard that, yeah, I wanted things done a certain way and I had expectations and I also had consequences, they interpreted that as being mean because, well, quite frankly, they just weren't used to it at that point. But that, especially for children, if they've been in classrooms where there's not a lot of structure and there's not very high expectations, and then they see another classroom where there are expectations and consequences and it's expected to go a certain way. Yeah, well, they might tell other kids like, yeah, well, that teacher's mean and strict, but again, it's based upon context. In fact, I once had a former student who apparently thought I was very mean and scary. And then she got to my classroom and she ended up writing a paper about how she initially felt at a younger grade. And then once she got into sixth grade in my class, she ended up really enjoying it. So, however, a child interprets strict and mean, it doesn't always paint the full picture. So within that first month, give the teacher the opportunity, give them the chance to set up their classroom expectations, to set up their classroom culture, and that will give you a much better idea of what that classroom is like. And if you're not really sure, ask former students and then parents of those former students to give you a much better picture of what that classroom is really going to be like for your child.